The next exercise is working with a yellow ochre and or a raw sienna. There's some beautiful colors, New Gamboge, colors that Jean Dobie in her book calls mouse colors. These mouse colors are yellows that have red, yellow, and blue in them in order to give them their neutral hue and characteristic. Raw sienna is one of my favorites. It's a bit more transparent than the yellow ochre, which has a semi-opaque quality to it and has to be used carefully. In this case, I'm working with the flat and I'm going to get a suggestion of some pine vegetation. An important thing about using the yellows as a base coat for shaping your trees, using your imagination in order to get a sense of the form of trees, in order to not be attached to the amount of details that are always evident in trees. An important aspect of using yellows is that the yellow really wants to be closest to the paper. You'd seen in the previous exercises that I did go back in with yellow on top of the field of blue and yellow or orange combinations. But in order to get a vibrancy for your paintings, the yellow should be closest to the paper. Because the yellow is going to absorb into the paper, it's going to give you that luminosity that you're looking for and the degree of brightness that one would hope to achieve to suggest sunlight. Again, the white of the paper is the sunlight, is the light force that you want to retain in creating your painting, and the yellow needs to be closest to the surface. I'm using the same blue, Prussian blue again, but here in using the flat, trying to get an idea of stroke, staying, not covering every aspect of the yellow, leaving some areas, and also moving outside of the field of the yellow pine form with the blue. Also gives it some additional variegation, altering, changing the chroma, which also changes the value. The chroma being the intensity. The three critical components of watercolor painting are hue, value, and chroma. The hue is whether it's yellow or blue or green or what have you, and the chroma is the intensity of the color. And that intensity is something you can control, that you control by the amount of water that's in the brush and also the type of brush that you use. Also the strokes that are applied, as you can see here. The strokes make a huge difference for the simplicity of suggestion of the tree. There are many painters that are realists, oil painters that really get into extreme definition of any type of tree and have a certain style that results from handling the watercolor and the representation that way. Here I'm using some strokes and experimenting. The idea of using different brushes and using these studies is to allow yourself the luxury of this level of experimentation. And in the same degree as with the previous drawings, allow your intuition to run free. Don't be too judgmental about your work. And again, go back and forth as you feel fit in being able to increase the dilution, adding in accents, or leaving it alone. Sometimes leaving things alone is good. Again, this is all just first pass execution, and the degree to which you might embellish or develop some of the previous tree exercises is another step in another exercise. And we'll let that one sift and sit and go where it needs to go. I'll try one more area, really strong down here, in order to suggest a ground, just using the blue. And also there are many ways to apply the brush to paper. Many ways to get effects. Here I'm letting the color actually run out, and I'm getting this dry brush effect at the base of the tree. The nice thing about this combination is that both colors are high chroma colors. The Prussian blue and even the raw sienna has a fairly bright aspect to it. So again, I can go back in with very little dilution and mostly just pigment in order to create certain effects. Okay. And there you go. And we'll let it see what happens with all that dripping and drooling and what have you. All right, we're going to try one more after that using a sienna and a blue.